What will you hide in the age of the internet? With these words, the Chief Justice of India and 2 other justices dismissed a petition seeking a ban on Aamir Khan's new film PK. The poster of the Rajkumar Hirani directed film shows Aamir Khan posing nude with a strategically placed boombox. 2 legal cases have been filed against it.
If you don't like it, don't watch it, but don't bring religion into it. That's what the Supreme Court said today, dismissing a public interest litigation against Aamir Khan's film PK. Though even the trailer of the film is yet to be released, the petition, filed by an NGO, All India Human Rights and Social Justice Front, claims the film has a scene where a man is dressed as the Hindu god Shiva, and that this would hurt religious sentiments. The petitioners had also claimed the film promoted nudity. The Supreme Court advised the petitioner to accept change. What will you hide in the age of internet? The court asked. The actor himself hadn't seemed very worried even before the verdict.
20 ऑगस्ट मी 20th ऑगस्टला मी सेकंड पोस्टर रिलीज करणार आणि ते पोस्टर मध्ये मी ट्रान्सिस्टर नाही घाललो. आता बोला.
While Aamir had clarified that there was no intention to sensationalize and people would realize that when they saw the film, there were some who were still unconvinced.
A celebrity, a hero giving a nude picture and posters. आप बड़े भारी social worker बनते हैं otherwise जिसमें इस तरीके की चीज दिखा रहे हैं, जिससे इस तरह से दूषित कर रहे हैं समाज को, उसको impound कर लेना चाहिए.
NDTV Bureau Report.
So is it vulgarity? Is it art? All those questions, and whether indeed as a nation we're too squeamish about certain things. Joining us on that discussion tonight, Krishna Hegde, Congress MLA from Bandra, who wanted Aamir Khan to take down his poster, even dressed it in a pair of green shorts, as we saw in our story there. Sudhindra Bhadoria of the BSP, today his party raised the PK poster in Parliament and called it an offence. Santosh Desai, advertising and marketing guru, author and columnist. Anil Dharkar, writer, continues to be with us, and Shaina NC, spokesperson for the BJP, and who's also a fashion designer in her own right, joining us on this discussion as well. But let me go to Krishna Hegde first. Mr. Hegde, today you decided to go with your supporters and actually dress up this poster of Aamir Khan. What is the message that you are trying to send out exactly?
Aamir Khan is a good actor who acts in a lot of successful films, but I think this was carrying creativity a bit too far. To pose in the nude with just a transistor in his hand, I think is totally uncalled for. Even if the character, like he says, is an alien, we've seen Arnold Schwarzenegger come as an alien in a lot of Hollywood movies. We've seen DiCaprio come in, who stripped nude in a movie, but they have never exhibited the nudity on posters. And I think Aamir Khan is sending a very bad message, firstly to the youth, to the family members, and especially to children who are his fans. I just wanted to send a subtle message to Aamir that what he is doing, he did not do because his films are anyway successful, and he did not sensationalize the issue.
So you're saying it was a publicity stunt through and through?
I don't think he needs the publicity. He is already a successful actor. But I don't know why he did it, and over that I heard his press conference the other day, today I think, where he says that my next poster will not even have a transistor in my hand. I think this is ridiculous.
Santosh Desai, leaving aside that rather quirky remark from Aamir Khan, which is obviously in response to the legal cases against him, to the fact that it even came up in Parliament today. The whole argument about this offending women and children, that this being somehow sort of detrimental to society at large. Where do people go with this argument exactly?
No, I mean, in this particular case, it's a very difficult argument to understand. You look at the entirety of the issue. One is that, male nudity in India, even culturally, has not been, a touchy subject. In a general sense, men have roamed around bare-torsoed, through life, and it hasn't raised any great eyebrows. Secondly, I think in this particular instance, we are talking about a Raju Hirani film. There is a context, there is a reality here. We've had instances of Ranbir Kapoor dropping towels and John Abraham, in Dostana. So it's not as if for the first time you're seeing glimpses of male nudity. And what is the offense? What do they expect? People will roam around nude as a result. exactly is this fear and the anxiety that is being talked about? This really just seems like a prop. I mean, it's an Amir Khan film. It gets coverage of this kind. It gets people in studios and their faces on television. I personally think this is a very cynical attempt to use a film like this purely so that you can get on television.
I want Sudhindra Bhadoria to respond to that, sir. Your party, Satish Mishra, raised this in Parliament today, saying this is an actor who champions social causes through his television appearances. Why should he promote something in this obscene manner? Mr. Mishra called this an obscenity. He asked for several redressals of it. Here there seems to be a suggestion that this is in effect just to climb on to the Amir Khan bandwagon. Anything he does makes news. You attack him, you instantly make the news as well. How do you respond?
You see, till some time back, Amir Khan was trying to present himself in the Satyamev Jayate as a champion for a new kind of awareness which he was trying to generate in this country. You know, there has been a long-standing debate, and more particularly women rights activists have brought this whole issue forward, where commodification of sex or commodification of beauty, in the manner in which the ads have been put across in India, and a lot of objection has been taken. Similarly, today the Bahujan Samaj Party National General Secretary and Parliament member Satish Mishra ji has rightly stated this in the Parliament. However, we would like to say that if Amir Khan is trying to somehow mystify, sensationalize, and also, again, I would go to the extent he's trying to commodify also, in certain ways, the same mindset is coming forward through this film. I think it is not in a good spirit, and it goes against the ethos and the spirit which he has been talking a lot about in Satyamev Jayate. It is a contradiction in terms, and it goes against the same...
What is that ethos exactly? I don't recall any particular episode on nudity as such, but, leaving that aside, Anil Dharkar, today the Supreme Court said, don't watch the film if you don't like it. The world has moved on. This is the internet age. Presumably there are far more provocative pictures available at the press of a button on the internet. So why are we continuing to make such a brouhaha about this, Anil Dharkar?
Well, absolutely. I think people are getting mixed up. There are really two very distinct issues here. Number one is whether the poster is obscene, and number two, the effect of this poster and this promotional campaign on Amir Khan's image. Now, Amir Khan's image is something which he can take care of himself, and really it is of no concern to anyone. I don't know why people are bringing this up, that he's promoted social causes, is a serious actor, etc. If he has taken a conscious decision to go this way, he must have thought it out, and he's doing it fine. This press conference showed that he's treating it as a one big joke when he says that in the next poster I won't even have the transistor radio. The second issue is whether it's obscene. Now the Supreme Court has given a ruling which is very, very sound, and I would say expected, because our courts have always taken a very liberal and broad-minded attitude, whether it's to movies, posters, or anything of that kind. I get a feeling of despair when I hear about all this. Do our parliamentarians, our politicians, our political parties have nothing better to do? There are serious issues facing the country than taking up cudgels on something as ridiculous as this. The poster is not obscene by any means. It is possibly in bad taste, or you might regard it as funny.
I would like to respond to this,
but that's all it is. And the definition of nudity, obscenity are something which I think our politicians do not understand. And it's about time they went back to the basics and learned what they mean. But more than that, I think they should look at what they spend their time on. Why are they wasting their time on these really ridiculous issues?
Let's just let the politicians...
and if you talk to young men and women...
Yes, I'd like to let the politicians respond
to that very quickly. If you talk to young men and women, they will laugh at the politician. They will laugh at politicians.
Ankita,
Yes, go ahead.
I would like to just tell Mr. Darkar
May I speak finally?
that some of the best infrastructure projects in Mumbai have been completed in my constituency, whether it's the Milan subway flyover or the Sahar elevated flyover. Apart from that, I have managed to get Bhavesh Parmar
Okay, that
back
may
from
be,
Pakistan
that may
jail.
well be true,
And
but
no,
sir,
no.
you did also go and put
just to
clothes
say
on a poster.
that people cannot just to
Mr.
say
Hegde,
that a politician
Hegde,
does not
you
do
know,
anything and get something flimsy
it's
like this.
difficult not
I don't
to
think that is very
trivialize
fair.
this debate because it does tend to sort of stoop to the ridiculous rather quickly. Shaina NC, you haven't had a chance to enter the discussion yet. So very quickly, why don't you respond to Anil Dharkar's contention? Surely politicians have better things to worry about.
Is that question for me?
Yes, yes, Shaina, go ahead.
Well, in this case, I'm not the politician caught in the trap. It's clearly the Congress and the BSP. So I think they need to reply on behalf of their party. But as an independent opinion in this country, I definitely want to make 1 or 2 points. At the cost of contradicting myself, we always talk about this objectification of women. This is the first time we've seen objectification of a man. And what bothers me is Aamir Khan's statement, which suggests that, this is just a trailer, the next poster I will be without a transistor. Now, the point here is that clearly in art you're able to express yourself the way you want, but you need to understand that you do live in a conservative society, and in India we tend to be more protective of our generation that is watching. You said that anybody can get anything on the internet, but we hope that a lot of our children who are growing up don't get this on internet. However, the point here is that watch it if you want, because the court has made a clear kind of statement which suggests that if you are an adult and you choose to watch it, if you don't. But my point is, for the lakhs and lakhs of people across India who are watching this on hoardings, it doesn't really suggest progress of India or progress of the actor. It suggests a kind of vulgarity which I don't think that we as a society are ready for. I mean, yes, there are multiple arguments which say that, you see it in your scriptures, you see it here and there, but the point is that we as a culture are slightly more traditional, and I think
I take your point about traditionalism.
There's no need to change just for the heck of changing, or there's no need to be obnoxiously obscene and promote nudity and vulgarity.
Shaina, we get that point, and I'd like to clarify that it was not me saying that, but the Supreme Court and indeed the Chief Justice of India who made the point about the internet today when passing the judgment, when dismissing this petition in court today. But Santosh Desai, leaving traditionalism aside, does all aesthetic nudity qualify as art? I mean, we talk about art and freedom of expression and so on. Are we seeing this differently because it's an Aamir Khan poster, because it's a Rajkumar Hirani film? Would we treat it in the same manner if it was just, for instance, any other hoarding, say promoting brands of underwear or something similar?
No, I think you've had, I mean, the fact of the matter is that, there's a transistor here. It could have been a very slinky underwear as some male briefs. How is that any different? And you've had those ads now for decades. So quite honestly, as to in what way does this cross a line of any kind that has not been breached before, I fail to understand. If it were not Aamir Khan
in the past as well.
Not for the routinely there are I don't want to name the brands. There are routinely brands that feature people, men wearing a very skimpy underwear. For years they've been advertising
in our hoardings, but also
daily
on
newspapers, on television. Honestly, meaning in this particular case, if it were not Aamir, and if it were not a film, and therefore, I really fail to see why in this instance, he is carrying a transistor, regardless of whatever he said in a press conference. The fact of the matter is that what has this poster shown or done, or what line has it crossed that has routinely not been crossed in the past?
Krishna Hegde, respond to that. Why? What was it about this particular poster that really raised, your outrage to this extent? I want to give you this one other instance, not so long ago, when all MLAs in the Maharashtra Assembly went off to watch the dirty picture together, and then when they were caught doing so, many of them said, no, we were actually watching Mission Impossible. So is there a certain element of hypocrisy involved in what seems to be socially appropriate behavior? You know, at the end of the day, why dress up a poster?
See, first of all, I don't think there is any outburst or any anger against Aamir Khan. It's just that what he has done. The second thing is, when you are on the internet, you have the choice of looking at what you want to. But this is Aamir Khan who's going to put up 1 lakh posters all over the country of this, whatever he's done. And, you know, it's right there in front of you. And then it's not about an internet. He's putting it in front of you. It's not that you have a choice to watch it or not. Secondly, there was nothing, you know, what I can say, outrage about it. If he thinks he was funny, we just wanted to send him a message that a lot of women who went into the theatre and asked the management to remove the posters of Aamir Khan had nothing to do with us. It's just we are living in India. There is a kind of a culture which we subscribe to, and we just giving a person. I do not think you can call this a creativity or this poster creative, because there is nothing creative about this poster. And there were instances like Dirty Picture and Ragini MMS.
Krishna Hegde, are any of us in a position to make a judgment on that? We haven't seen the film yet. We have it on the actor's authority that, you know, this poster is a key element. It sort of embodies the theme of the film in some way, which is why he consented to do it. We have no way of disputing that. So how can you say this then?
Ankita, that is what I said in the first place, that even if he is playing an alien, there is no need to show himself nude on the poster. Arnold Schwarzenegger has played an alien. Leonardo DiCaprio has, you know, been nude in a film, but they have not put the nudity, displayed the nudity on posters.
Okay, without giving the plot of the film away, because that would hardly be fair. So, Dendra Bhadoria, at the end of the day, you know, we seem to keep coming back to the question about whether there would have been so much of a fuss made about this particular poster, including, as your party did, raising it in Parliament, if it had been anybody else. How do you respond?
Well, as I had said in the beginning, and I would like to reiterate, however, I must also say that all citizens respect the verdict of the Supreme Court, but I must also say that the people in this country, where, as somebody in your panel was saying, that the Parliament is not debating serious issues, the Parliament has taken up so many bills. This is also an important issue as to what kind of values you are trying to create. And I said in the beginning that Aamir Khan was coming forward in Satyamev Jayate as a person who stood for a different kind of value system, but again he is going back to the same old stereotypes where there is a commodification of sex and beauty, and here he is also trying to mystify everything. So this kind of mystification and sensationalization and this is something, this kind of mindset we definitely would like to oppose.
Sensationalism, Anil Dharkar, would you agree that that's all it is? Or does this really go beyond that to what the Supreme Court in fact said, you know, it doesn't violate anyone's constitutional rights. If anything, if you try to ban the film, then that would violate the constitutional right to freedom of expression of the filmmaker or the people associated with the film.
Well, you know, the people on your panel, especially the politicians, seem to know exactly what society wants. How do they know this? How does China know that our society is not ready for this? I would say that our society is ready for it. I would say that our society accepts this as a joke. I don't think that poster is art.
That's the 1%
I don't think
of
that poster is
society you're
particularly
talking
creative.
about, Anilji.
I think it's just
This
funny,
is in the face.
and it is something I would ignore. What I would really want to say to all these politicians is, for God's sake, get a life. Get a life. Think of all that is there, that is important to be done, and don't waste time in trivial issues. This
Ankita?
poster does not violate any value systems. It does not violate any value systems. It does not corrupt our young.
Okay.
The young can take this as a joke, and that's really the level I would put it at.
Well, the young can take it as a joke. Clearly, the politicians on this panel don't agree. I'm afraid that's all we have
Ankita,
time
if I can
for.
just make a quick point.
Yes, okay, very quickly.
Can I just make a quick point?
Yes. Go ahead.
Very quickly, I agree with Anil that everyone is entitled to choose what they want to do, but by that same logic, in a society such as ours, if we're going to completely accept nudity, vulgarity, orgies, drugs, etc., why imbibe everything that is not necessary? You can have your personal choices in your personal space, but in a public forum where it is in your face, I think the problem with this particular hoarding is that it's terribly in the face. If it was slightly molded, I think that they could have still kept the essence and done away with this publicity and sensationalism.
All right, well, Aamir Khan himself quipping that his next poster will not even have the transistor or the boombox that this one had. Brave, perhaps foolhardy words, even given the protests and legal cases the film has already faced, with 4 months still to go before it releases. Vulgarity or art? Well, at the end of the day, we'll leave it to you, the viewer, to decide. We can only echo the words of the Honorable Supreme Court. Don't watch the film if you don't like it, but don't try to stop it in the name of obscenity. That's it then on Left, Right and Centre tonight, but do stay tuned. There's a lot more coming up.